Hi everybody, I'm Amy from the Cauldron, and in today's episode of Dye Time I'm going to be dyeing some cotton floss. Now I've just realised I didn't actually tie these up individually, and this is going to be a huge mess. Nope, there's one. This cotton is 6-stranded cotton floss, which is really good for cross-stitching and embroidery work. It's been soaking in soda ash and water for probably about half an hour now, and there's 10 meters in each skein here. Now today I'm going to be continuing the experiment I started in Dye Time number 91, which is where I had 5 jars of cotton floss and I left them for a period between 1 and 5 days. This time I'm going to be leaving them for 6 hours each. So I've got here my little lids I've written on. It's 1 p.m. now, so I'm going to be leaving them for, I'm going to wash this first one at 7 p.m, then 1 a.m, 7 a.m, then 1 p.m. And I have in here a mix of Nebula Navy and Lime Pop Fibre Reactive dyes from Dharma. Now, I actually ended up making a colour very similar to what I did last time. So I'm going to make sure that each of these have the same amount of dye in them. I've only just made up this solution, so to make sure that everything is fair. So this is 20 millilitres I'm putting in at the moment. And all this equipment I'm using here is dedicated for dyeing. Oops, I don't use it for food. And while I measured out while I made this up, I did have on my mask, and as you can see I've still got my gloves on. Yeah, this green is very similar to the other one. I was curious to see how a little bit of Lime Pop would affect the Nebula Navy. I wasn't expecting it to be quite like this. I think I used 0.15 grams of Nebula Navy and about 0.5-ish grams of Lime Pop. When measuring out dyes in such small quantities, it's very difficult. So they've each got 40 millilitres in. There's still more dye. So I think these jars hold about 80 millilitres. So hopefully I haven't made up too much dye. So that's 50 millilitres in each of these. At the moment, well, I'm adding in 50. There we go. There's a tiny bit of dye left. So I added a little bit more water here. And I've got a little pipette, which is 3 millilitres. Not that I can ever use these properly. There we go. Oh, I'm not really used to being quite so precise. I want these to have to be as similar as possible. But what I think I'm going to do now is just eyeball this last tiny bit. Just going to fill it just up to just before the neck there. Perfect. As I said, it's 1 p.m, so I'm doing these in 6-hour. Okay. Let's start again. Take 2. I've cleaned this up as best I can for now. This is just on top of my freezer, so that's why I've not actually put anything down on this. We don't do any food preparation on top of the freezer. Now, I've emptied everything back into this jug, and I'm just going to start again. Now, because I lost a jar of liquid, this concentration isn't quite as strong as it was, but no, these things happen. So it's 1 o'clock now. I'm going to be washing that one at 7 p.m. I'm going to get up in the middle of the night, wash that one at 1 a.m. and then this one 7 a.m. in the morning, and then this one will be 24 hours. So 6, 12, 18 and 24 hours. I'm going to say now that when it comes to washing these, particularly at 1 a.m. and 7 a.m, I'm not going to wash them completely. I'm just going to dump out the liquid and put it in clean water and then just leave it. And actually I'm going to do that with all of them, and then once it comes to this one, I will wash them all properly at 1 p.m. tomorrow. Okay, this has been sitting here for 24 hours. It's now 1 o'clock. I'm going to give this a quick rinse off, just like that, because as it was sitting in that water, there is going to be a lot of runoff. I noticed that water was quite green, and this this floss is actually quite blue. So I wonder if that yellow in the lime pop just takes a bit extra time to bind. I'm not sure. Now I'm just adding here, I'm adding just a little tag with 4 loops on it, so I know that this one was the one I opened 4th. I've got the rest of my cotton in here. These were all opened at the times I said I would open them, roughly. And I have already added tags to these, so I won't get them all muddled up now. Well, at least until I take the tags off. I can see already that this one is darker. That's the one I've just taken out, but that could be because these have been rinsed a little bit and that one hasn't. I'm going to add on my zip tie so I don't keep dropping these. I'm going to run this through under some cold tap water at the moment. Just rinse off any of that excess dye from it sitting in solution. Add a little bit of washing up liquid just to help try and dissolve some of this. Not dissolve some of it, just to try and shift some unbound dye. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this soak in a tub of water. This I have found is the best way for me to wash cotton floss and cotton yarn, is just to let it soak in some water with some soap, and then I change the water every couple of hours for anything up to over a day, and I keep doing that until the water is completely clear, because washing cotton is quite labour intensive, and I find this is probably the best way for me. So I'm going to leave that now, and I'll keep changing the water every few hours. Then I'll probably leave it to soak overnight and then hang it up in the morning. That is if the water's running clear. If it's not running clear in the morning, then I will have to just carry on doing this. And here it is, the finished dyed cotton. Now I've put this in order. So the one at the top was 6 hours, and then this one was 12, this one was 18, and this one was 24. And there is a very, very subtle fade, I think, between the 4 of them. If we put the 24 hours and the 6 hours next to each other, there is a very, very slight difference. The 6 hours is very slightly paler, but it's not really that much. I was expecting a more dramatic difference between at least the 6 and the 24-hour ones. I don't know if the temperature in my kitchen had anything to do with this, because it's winter now, so it's quite cold in there. I don't know. I think if I take the tags off, my little cotton tags, no, not cotton, they're acrylic tags you can see here, I probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference between these. I think this was an interesting experiment. I'm glad I did it. And now I know that if I don't leave something for at least 24 hours, it's probably not going to make a huge difference in the end. I mean, I
probably will still leave stuff over 24 hours. When I do my cotton dyeing, it's usually closer to a week that I leave stuff, but it's good to know that it's probably not going to wash out too much more of the dye if I don't leave it for 24 hours. Now I've taken my tags off, I've still put them in order, so 6, 12, 18 and 24, but I think if I can put 6 and 12, 6 and 24 next to each other, and yes, I can see a bit of a difference. But these two, 12 and 18 hours, no, I can't really tell much of a difference. Yeah, I can see a difference between those two, but definitely not those two. I can't see a difference between those at all. And yeah, now I'm just mixing it up, and I don't know which one's which. That's possibly okay. Hang on, put it back like that. Yeah, that is possibly the order, I think, but I don't know. I can't be completely sure. I hope you enjoyed watching this little experiment video. Please do leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of this experiment. If you'd like me to do something like this again, maybe with different periods of time or different colours, again, let me know. I do take on board all your suggestions, and I do try to turn as many of them as I can into videos. I publish tutorials once a week on Mondays, usually around about 6 p.m. UK time. And as I said, I do like to experiment. I take your suggestions. I like to experiment with different dyes and techniques and different fibre types. So there should always be something different and interesting to watch. Thank you so much for watching.